Uncut Gems is the latest Safdie Brothers film produced by A24 that stars Adam Sandler as the sleazy jewelry store owner who gets high off the anxiety of gambling with other people's money. And I always get so pumped up when an A24 film gets exposed to general audience because it forces them to experience something that is much more unorthodox than what they're used to seeing. It's not the most demanding of their patience compared to other art house films, but nevertheless it is quite unique, stylistic, and unlike most of anything general audiences have ever seen. And I have to give the props to Adam Sandler here because to me, he is undeniably the reason why Uncut Gems is getting so much exposure and wide release potential because his star power is some of the strongest you'll see in the film industry today. And by God, does Adam Sandler deliver in Uncut Gems. In my opinion, this is his most impressive performance to date, topping his previous serious roles in films like Punch Drunk Love, Reign Over Me, and the Meyerowitz Stories. But let me stop talking about how much I love the film and how great it is because you didn't come here for me to just gush over it, so I'm sorry for wasting a minute of your time here if that's the case. But you all came here for an analysis discussion regarding the film's themes, metaphors, and symbolisms, or at least I hope so. I will be discussing the ending of the film in this video, but this is not a video that will be providing a fleshed out explanation of the film's ending narratively in terms of what happened in the story. Because to me, that's too simplistic for a video. Howard motivates KG to play great in his next game by flaunting badmouth sports analyst in his face and the Vegas odds. He places a gigantic bet on the basketball game, he locks his debt collectors behind bulletproof glass, he wins the bet, he lets them go, and then he gets shot in the face regardless of his winnings. That's the third act of the film in a nutshell. But what I'm going to be discussing here is the symbolic meanings and representations of the opal and how it relates to the existential theme of Adam Sandler's character Howard and to the film's ending in general. There's also what seems to me to be an obvious theme in this film regarding capitalism and how misfortunate people in impoverished foreign countries risk their livelihood to excavate gems just to make ends meet and have a stable future for themselves and their families, while the gems that they end up selling off are used by people like Howard to cater for the sake of his own gambling addiction and the pursuit of greedy, excessive wealth in general. But this analysis will be focusing solely on the more existential themes and how it ties into the nature of the universe. So the opal that both Howard and KG are entranced by throughout the film, in my opinion, is a symbol for the film's overarching theme and Howard's character theme. We get a handful of beautiful zoom-in close-up shots of inside of the gems that visually resemble the appearance of outer space and the universe. The film is attempting to tie in the uncut gems, which is the opal, to the universe. Why is that? Well, it's trying to convey a thematic connection between the two. What are the most common features people think about when they think about the universe? To me, it's chaos, randomness, and chance, all resulting in a lack of control. So what does this have to do with the gems and the film itself? Well, let's start with the gems. One of the biggest appeals behind the opal, besides the fact that it shines beautifully, is that it's essentially raw and untampered with. It's a gorgeous chunk of earth that represents the beauty of the gems as nature intended, arranged by chance and chaos. It's only until humans chip and drill into it and recover the individual gems in order to refine them and sell them individually is when the rawness and chaotic beauty is taken away. So in other words, the opal represents the human's lack of control in the arrangement of the gems, and taking the gems out and refining them represents our desire to manipulate and control the results of our findings and surroundings. So how does this relate to Adam Sandler's character Howard and to the ending of the film itself? Well, let's start by discussing Adam Sandler's character. Howard is someone who obviously has an unhealthy addiction to gambling and betting, probably due to the euphoric, borderline orgasmic adrenaline rush that we see him get from it. And of course, greed plays a part in that, but the point is that his character is centered around the need to gamble. His whole adult life and financial stability revolves around chance and odds, which is obviously a lot like the nature of the universe. But he feels like he always has control of every situation he puts himself in, or at least always feels like he can regain control no matter how much it seems to spiral out of control. He always feels confident enough to make these bets and doesn't really feel like he won't have some sort of control over the outcomes. This is why the entire film is anxiety fueled, because there is apparent chaos that is engulfing his surroundings throughout the narrative. The film itself feels a bit random and chaotic as you're watching it because we are constantly seeing the consequences of his actions unfold throughout the entirety of the film, and he genuinely believes that he has everything under control despite his universe crashing around him the entire film. It's only until nearing the third act where we see him break down and cry as he realizes that everything that he thought he had under control completely collapses as his illusion of control is shattered to pieces. But once he gets the smallest shimmer of hope when KG makes yet another offer to buy the Opal, his confidence is completely restored again. But it's this regained confidence of his that gives him the illusion of control and will ultimately be his downfall at the end of the film. So now we get to the actual ending of the film, and the reason why I wanted to analyze and discuss the ending is because it corresponds perfectly with the themes I've discussed regarding chaos, chance, and the illusion of control and lack thereof. So at this point, Howard was able to lock his intimidating debt collectors within his jewelry store's bulletproof glass entrance by pure chance. Once he notices that they have been locked in there, he seizes the opportunity after noticing that he has indeed accidentally gained control of the situation to continue to hold them there during the basketball game as they are all forced to watch the result of his bet unfold and not chase after his mistress who helped place the bet for him. He was physically able to harness the chaos and protect himself from it while also being able to flaunt and gloat about it in front of their faces, which for him was obviously absolutely liberating. So symbolically and metaphorically speaking, the bulletproof glass is representing the temporary control that Howard has gained of his cosmic chaos. The debt collectors represent the natural consequential chaos of the universe. The gambling aspect of the basketball game and the locking mechanism on the entrance door malfunctioning at just the right moment represents chance and the randomness of the universe. Sure, the door malfunctioning isn't completely random considering that the door has malfunctioned before, but the fact that his temporary fix involving the wedging of a metal shaving tool decided to fall off at this particular time and cause the door to lock and malfunction isn't what you would call calculated. So once Howard actually wins his humongous bet on the basketball game is when he quite literally makes the mistake of his life. He opens the door for his debt collectors thinking that he's now safe and out of harm's way, and then the most aggressive debt collector pulls out his gun and shoots Howard right in the face. You see, what happened here is that Howard's extreme ego and confidence level consumed him and allowed his mind to unrightfully believe that he would continue to have full control of the situation. Everything went right for Howard, but he didn't take into account that it's impossible to have control over someone's free will decisions and emotions. Howard legitimately had control when they were locked within the bulletproof glass, but once he let them out, he now only had the illusion of control because free will has now entered the equation, and he paid the ultimate universal consequence for it. So to me, this is why the imagery of the universe and the gems were visually and thematically connected in the film. It's because the film itself uses the natural aspects of the universe, which are chaos, chance, randomness, and our lack of control, and incorporates them as themes within its narrative and characters. Well, that's my analysis discussion on the thematic conveyances of Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is truly one of those films that gives you a cinematic experience like no other, and I highly suggest for those who haven't seen their previous film Good Time to please check it out. It's similar in terms of aesthetic style and pace, and I think if you enjoyed Uncut Gems, you would easily enjoy Good Time. It's another high-octane, anxiety-fueled roller coaster that refuses to let you go until it ends. If you really enjoyed my insight for Uncut Gems, please give this video a like and share it amongst your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.